So in August of 2022, I moved to Tacoma, Washington from upstate New York. And while I can say with like total confidence that Tacoma is far from the perfect place, it is slowly but surely becoming the perfect place for me. And here's why I say that. Tacoma sits along Washington's Puget Sound, which is an inlet of the Pacific Ocean and is a part of the Salish Sea. And what that means is that if you were someone like me who is just addicted to the water, then you are going to love Tacoma because water is everywhere and it's so easily accessible. My personal favorites in town are Titlow Beach, which is a part of like Titlow Park, and that's in West Tacoma, right off of 6th Ave. And then you have my personal favorite, which is Owen Beach, and that is part of Point Defiance. And I think that those two are the best places in town when you want to access water and you don't want to leave Tacoma, because out there you can go kayaking, you can go canoeing, you can go paddle boarding, and there's also options for motorized boating as well. Owen Beach is pretty rocky. I don't really think there's just any sand out there at all. And Titlow Beach has a little bit of sand, like it has like patches of sand, but it's also predominantly a rocky beach. But both of them are absolutely beautiful and again, easy to access. And when you get tired of being in town, and this will happen, especially when it's like 3,000 degrees outside, like what it is right now, then I would highly recommend leaving Tacoma behind and heading out to my favorite place in all of Washington State, which is the Olympic National Park. Now, I know that it's kind of a lot to ask, but if you can do it, and even if it's just one time, I would highly recommend that you just do the Olympic Loop. So this is going to take you out from starting at Tacoma or starting in Tacoma. It's going to take you through Tacoma. You're going to go up through Sequim, through Port Angeles. You're going to go out to Forks, Washington, where Twilight, I don't know if all of Twilight was filmed in Forks. I think some parts of it was filmed in Vancouver as well, but there were parts of it that was filmed in Forks, Washington, and the setting of the novel, or novels, the setting of the series is predominantly in Forks, Washington. And so I would just highly recommend that you make that loop around and that you check out some of the beautiful beaches that are a part of the Olympic National Park. So I'm talking about Claylock Beach, Ruby Beach, and Rialto Beach. Those are all beautiful, beautiful beaches with a combination of sand and rocks, but all of them are absolutely stunning. And I would highly recommend Claylock Beach because there you can see the Tree of Life, which is like a major tourist attraction in Washington State. And I personally think that it is worth the visit. It is absolutely beautiful and so majestic. And if you're someone like me who also has a really profound interest and deep appreciation for trees, then you will just fall in love with the Tree of Life. And also out in the Olympic National Park and the Olympic National Forest area, you can even stop off to see, I think it's called like Big Cedar Tree. That's literally what it's called, but it is a massive, massive cedar tree that is just absolutely stunning. Now, homelessness is a problem in Tacoma. It's worse in Seattle because Seattle is more densely populated and there's just a greater population in Seattle, but Tacoma is definitely dealing with homelessness for sure. Homelessness is definitely a problem in Tacoma. And it's one of those things like where, you know, basically anywhere in the world, depending on what neighborhood you're in, what part of town you're in, you are going to have more or less exposure, more or less direct exposure to the homeless problem here in Tacoma. So for instance, if you are out and about and around like the downtown area and up into like the hilltop area, you are going to come in contact with people who are homeless on basically a daily basis, pretty much anytime you step outside. But if you are out near, like, let's say Proctor Street or any of the neighborhoods moving towards like Ruston, towards Point Defiance, you are going to see it far less. And also I think University Place is an area that's also not so, you don't see homeless people as much as frequently. You definitely still see them, you still see their plight and what they're going through, but the contact, the exposure is not as frequent as it is in, let's say, downtown Tacoma, moving up into the hilltop area. And just speaking of neighborhoods in general, that is actually one of the things that I really do love about the neighborhoods in Tacoma. I think that they are just like absolutely beautiful, and a lot of them are just, I don't know, like, I love a gorgeous home like anyone does, but I also really like just small, neat, quaint homes that have character to them. And I also love seeing the Black Lives Matter flags and the Pride flags and just all of the different symbols of inclusivity that make me as a Black woman feel safer, feel more validated, and feel more seen. All right, y'all, now let's talk about traffic. Oh my God. Now, I am a commuter. I am someone who I commute every single day for work. So I have become pretty intimately, I have gained a very deep and thorough understanding of traffic and traffic patterns in and around Tacoma. And honestly, to be 100% transparent with you, traffic within Tacoma is really not that bad. Like, it's honestly not. Traffic within is just not that bad. In town, it's not that bad. The problem is leaving Tacoma and going past that Fife, that port of Tacoma, like that is where traffic is terrible. Traffic around Fife and traffic around the port of Tacoma, those exits, is absolute garbage. It is absolute garbage. It is garbage when you leave in the morning to go to work, and it is garbage when you come home from work in the afternoon, in the evening. It is garbage. It is garbage. But with that being said, that's usually just through the work week. It's usually perfectly fine on weekends, no matter what time during the weekend. It's usually okay. And again, traffic in town isn't really that big of a deal. It's really not that bad. Now, one question that I get all the time is just like, what about the Black population in Tacoma? What's that like? And, the Black population, in my opinion, in Tacoma is pretty good. I mean, if you're comparing to Seattle, where it feels like there's like no Black people, then Tacoma is like a Black metropolis in comparison to Seattle. But truthfully, there are a lot of Black people that do live in Tacoma, and I feel that Tacoma is a very Black friendly city. And just for like comparison, when I'm in Seattle walking around, like, it might take me a minute before I see another Black person. But here in Tacoma, every time I step outside the door, I see another Black person. So we're out here, and again, I feel like this is really a comfortable space for Black people, and in particular Black women, to live within. And just in general, when it comes to people, I feel that the people in Tacoma are really, really lovely. Like, I feel like people here are real, people here are transparent, and a lot of people here are just very friendly and open as well. Like, the Seattle freeze is a real thing, in my opinion. I think that a lot of people in Seattle can be really snooty and really stuck up and just really kind of superficial. And there's some of that here in Tacoma, but not really. Like, the freeze is really just kind of concentrated in Seattle. And I feel like the best people are here in Tacoma and kind of like around Tacoma. That's just where like your real people are. Now, there are a lot of people who are leaving Tacoma and leaving Washington in general due to like the homelessness problem, drugs, crime, and expenses. It is expensive out here, and there's just a slew of other reasons why people are ditching Washington and are ditching Tacoma, and I think all of their reasons are valid to some degree. And at the same time, if you are someone that just moved here, or you are someone who is slated to move here, I promise you, I 100% promise you, from one transplant to another, that you can have an amazing experience here in Tacoma, and you can really make Tacoma your home, and you can really feel at home here in Tacoma. And if you have any questions or curiosities about Tacoma or about Washington, because I've really started to see a lot of it, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me via my email. It's in my About Me section. And I want to say welcome if you are new here or if you are on the way. Again, I think this is a beautiful place. And again, thank you so much for watching today's video. I hope that you enjoyed. And until next time, stay safe, be well, and I'll see you all soon. Bye, everyone.